Hello friends, $74 a month. That's the raise the average retiree is now projected to get from the 2027 Social Security COLA. A 3.8% increase, a full point bigger than this year's, but a bigger check triggers 6 moves you need to make before October. And stay with me until number 6, because that's the one most people get completely backwards. For some retirees, this raise quietly raises their tax bill too. Number 1. Calculate your real raise, not the headline raise. The Senior Citizens League's July estimate puts the 2027 COLA at 3.8%, up from the 2.8% you got this year. On the average retirement check, that's an increase from $1,937.53 to $2,011.15, $73.62 more per month. But here's what the headlines skip. Your Medicare Part B premium comes straight out of that check before you ever see it. The Medicare trustees project the standard Part B premium will climb from $202.90 this year to about $209.50 in 2027. That's $6.60 of your raise gone on day one, shrinking the average increase to about $67. And it could be worse. Private forecasters are projecting between $216 and $219 because the trustees have underestimated this premium before. If they're right, your raise shrinks by another $7 to $10. The typical mistake: a retiree hears 3.8%, commits that full amount to a car payment or a new subscription, and then January's deposit comes in smaller than promised. Don't budget the gross number. Take the projected raise on your own check, subtract at least $7 from Medicare, subtract $15 if you want a safety margin, and plan around that net figure. That's the only number that actually lands in your bank account. Number 2, do not spend an estimate because 3.8% is not official yet. By law, the Social Security Administration calculates the COLA using only 3 months of inflation data, the CPI-W readings for July, August, and September. The announcement comes in mid-October. Everything you're hearing right now, including the 3.8, is a projection, and projections this year have bounced between 3.6 and 4.7%, depending on who's counting. That spread is real money. On the average check, the difference between 3.6 and 3.8% is about $4 a month. The difference between 3.8 and 4.4 is over $11. The classic mistake happens every single summer. A retiree reads an optimistic headline in July, signs a lease, finances a purchase, or promises a family member help. And then, October's official number comes in lower. One bad summer of gas prices, one cooler grocery report, and the number moves. If you want to track it yourself, the Bureau of Labor Statistics releases each month's CPI-W about the middle of the following month. So July's number lands in mid-August, August's in mid-September, and September's in mid-October, right before the official announcement. Watch those 3 releases and you'll know the answer before the headlines do. In the meantime, make 2 pencil budgets this week, one assuming 3.5%, one assuming 4%. If your plans only work in the 4% version, they're not plans, they're bets. Then circle mid-October on your calendar, because that's when the Social Security Administration publishes the real figure, and that's the day your 2027 budget becomes fact instead of forecast. The retirees who wait 90 days to commit money never get burned by a revision. The ones who spend the estimate in July are the ones writing angry comments in November. Number 3. Attack the inflation that caused this COLA because the raise is a rear-view mirror. A 3.8% COLA isn't a gift, it's a receipt. It exists because the CPI-W jumped 4.4% year-over-year this spring, the fastest pace since April 2023, including a 0.7% spike in May alone. And here's the mechanic most people miss. You pay those higher prices all year long, but the raise doesn't hit your check until January. Run the numbers on a household spending $30,000 a year. 4.4% inflation adds about $1,320 in annual costs. The projected COLA on the average check adds back about $883 a year. That's a gap of more than $400, money the COLA never gives back. The mistake is treating the COLA like it makes you whole. It doesn't. It reimburses part of yesterday's damage. So the real move is cutting the bills the COLA is chasing. Pull your 3 biggest monthly bills and shop every one of them this month. And mark this window. Medicare Open Enrollment runs October 15th through December 7th. That's your once-a-year chance to compare your drug plan and Medicare Advantage plan against every competitor. And plan prices change every single year even when your health doesn't. A retiree who shops the plan instead of auto-renewing routinely saves more than the entire COLA, hundreds of dollars a year from one afternoon of comparison. And remember, number 6 is still coming, the move most retirees get exactly backwards, where a bigger raise means a bigger bill in April. Number 4. Stop letting your cash shrink at 4.4% a year. This is the move inflation makes urgent. If you keep $20,000 sitting in a checking account that pays essentially nothing, 4.4% inflation quietly eats about $880 of its buying power in a single year. More than a full month of the average Social Security check, gone without a single withdrawal. The mechanic is simple. Inflation is a tax on idle cash, and the account where your benefit lands is usually the worst paying account you own. Many retirees have used the same checking account since the 90s and have never once compared what it pays against an insured high-yield savings account, a short-term certificate of deposit, or treasury bills, all of which are paying meaningfully more than a basic checking account right now, and all of which can be just as safe. Deposits at FDIC-insured banks are protected up to $250,000 per depositor per bank, so moving money between insured accounts costs you nothing in safety. Here's the typical story. A widow keeps $60,000, her emergency fund and her husband's life insurance in the checking account to keep things simple. Over 3 years of inflation like this, simplicity cost her thousands in purchasing power. The move this week. Leave 1 to 2 months of expenses in checking for bills and shift the rest into an insured account that actually pays. If you're worried about locking money up, ladder it. Split the cash across a 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month certificate, so a piece comes due every few months and nothing is ever out of reach for long. Your Social Security deposit can keep landing exactly where it always has. You're not taking risk. You're refusing an invisible pay cut on money you already earned. Number 5. Verify your own numbers before January, because the raise is automatic but mistakes aren't rare. When the official COLA is announced in October, you don't need to apply, call, or fill out anything. The increase appears in your January payment. In December, Social Security posts your personal COLA notice showing your exact new benefit amount and your exact Medicare deduction. The move. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov right now, before the December rush, and when that notice arrives, check 2 lines, your new gross benefit and the Part B premium being withheld. If the premium is higher than the standard amount and your income hasn't jumped, that's worth a call to Social Security to review. The mistake that costs real money. COLA season is scam season. Every fall, criminals call seniors claiming they need to activate the increase or verify your banking information to release the new amount. That is always a lie. The COLA requires nothing from you, ever. A retiree who reads out her account number to an official-sounding caller can lose an entire month's check before the bank can react. So make this the rule in your house. Social Security does not call you to activate anything. If your phone rings about your COLA, hang up and dial the agency yourself. 10 minutes setting up the online account. 2 lines checked in December. That's the whole job. And it protects the raise you waited a year to get. And number 6, the one people get completely backwards. A bigger COLA can hand part of your raise straight to the IRS. Here's the trap. Whether your Social Security is taxed depends on your combined income. That's your adjusted gross income, plus any tax-exempt interest, plus 1/2 of your Social Security benefits. Add those 3 numbers on the back of an envelope, and you know exactly where you stand. The problem is that the thresholds you're measured against were never indexed for inflation. They've been frozen for decades. At $25,000 for a single filer or $32,000 for a couple, up to half your benefits become taxable. At $34,000 single or $44,000 married, up to 85% of your benefits can be taxed. Every COLA pushes your income up, while those lines never move, so each raise drags more retirees over them. Picture a married couple sitting a few $100s under the $44,000 line. A 3.8% COLA on 2 average checks adds roughly $1,700 of annual income, enough to shove them into the tier where up to 85% of benefits count as taxable. Their raise arrives in January, and the bill for it arrives in April. The mistake is doing nothing until that surprise. Two moves instead. First, if you're 65 or older, make sure your tax preparer applies the new senior deduction of up to $6,000 per person that runs through 2028. It exists precisely to offset this squeeze, though it phases out at higher incomes. Second, if you're near those thresholds, download IRS Form W-4V and have 7, 10, 12, or 22% voluntarily withheld from your benefit, so April can't ambush you. So here's the bottom line. The 2027 raise looks like the biggest in years, but the winners are the retirees who keep it. Your one action step this week: run your real raise math, your projected check, minus the higher Medicare premium, and if your income sits anywhere near those frozen tax lines, print Form W-4V today. If this helped you, subscribe and share it with one person on Social Security. Their October just got easier.